Today we're going to look at the System Sensor Mass 121580A horn strobe. This is the newest fire alarm device in my collection, and I really like it. And I want to share those things with you, so if you guys ever want to get a System Sensor Mass, you know what things to look for. However, this also has some cons to it that I'd also like to share with you. I'm going to be scoring this alarm today at 60 points. 30 points are going to be for practicality, 20 points are going to be for notification, and 10 points are going to be for design. Let's get started. We're going to start with the practicality category here. So this is the back of the alarm. As you can see, it has a nice big label, so it's easy to read. And now this is the coolest feature that I really like. See this little panel here? If you slide it to the left, it reveals the terminals. I really like this feature because that means that it limits short circuiting and other things. And also a cool thing is that there's a little clip storage here. And when the panel is closed, the clip can't come out. But you can slide the panel and easily remove the jumper clip. So I really like that feature about this alarm. One thing I do not like is that it has brake tabs to make it a 4-wire alarm. I think brake tabs is a really poor choice because once they're broken you can't reconnect them. I think they should use dip switches or just not even bother with the brake tabs. Another thing I do not like is how you select the tones. As you can see, there's these little clips here, and you move the clips to different combinations to set the tones. This is really great, but the clips are made of metal and are rather hard to get off, and they scrape the little wiring on the circuit board, making it pretty hard to select the tones after a while. So what I would recommend if this alarm is to be designed again is using plastic clips or dip switches instead of these little metal clips here, because I don't think they are helpful at all. If I had to score this alarm on practicality, I would give it a 22 out of 30. I really like the panel here, and I like that the terminals are plastic here with the little barrier so it won't short circuit. So it's a very safe alarm. However, I absolutely do not like the plastic brake tabs, and I'm really not a fan of the way you select your tones on this. The next thing we're going to test out on this alarm is its ability to alert people of a fire emergency. I have it set on the default tone, given that this is the tone that would probably be set on if it was installed on the building. Let's give it a test. This alarm produces a whopping 90 decibels based on my phone's decibel meter, which is extremely loud. You definitely notice the tone when it goes off, and you look up to see the very bright strobe. So it does a great job of alerting occupants that something is wrong and you need to evacuate the building. A really awesome thing that this alarm comes with is the ability to produce multiple tones. This is used primarily if this alarm was installed in other countries. For example, in Britain, the standard for fire is a high-low tone. In the Netherlands, it's a slow whoop. In Sweden, it's a 2400 Hz intermittent tone. So thus, the System Sensor Mass has different tones for different countries if this was installed in those countries. So this is compatible in the Americas and other countries in Europe, which is pretty cool. Let's listen to one of those alternate tones. Sometimes in the United States of America, you will hear the System Sensor Mass go off in a different tone than the traditional 800 Hz tone. It's just fine if that happens. It's just the installer felt like selecting an alternate tone for the system and just decided to be unique. I don't know. But at any rate, the main reason why it has multiple tones is so this device can be used in other countries. Notice that it's called a sounder strobe instead of a horn strobe on the box. That's because in the UK, they call them sounder strobes instead of horn strobes. If I had to give this alarm a grade for notification, I would say it has a set of unique tones that definitely alert building occupants of a fire emergency. The strobe is very bright, and I think the ADA compliant strobe is absolutely wonderful. I will say, however, I think they should have added a bell tone. Bell tones are really helpful for many things, and I also think maybe they could have added a single stroke chime or something like that. If this alarm was redesigned, I would definitely suggest those two things. I'm going to give this alarm a 19 out of 20 for notification, an outstanding score. Lastly, we're going to go over the design of the alarm. So this alarm is definitely a very unique alarm. I really like the look of it. However, I would say it's a little bit large and definitely noticeable. You definitely notice it on a wall. Take a look at my index finger here. See how big the strobe is? I would say if they had to redesign this alarm, I would say make the strobe a little smaller. Things I like is that it's this perpendicular line to the strobe here, and the strobe's directly centered in the alarm, which I think is a very attractive design feature. I also like these curved top and bottom on the strobe, and I like that there's fire lettering on all three sides, and there's flames here. So if someone doesn't understand English or they can't read this for whatever reason, they can see the flames and know that's the fire alarm. One thing I find interesting is that the strobe comes off of the sounder like this, and it's just attached with wires, which I've never seen in a fire alarm before. If I had to give this a grade, I'd give it a 9 out of 10 for design. Based on my rubric, this alarm has earned a 50 out of 60, which is a pretty good score. If you'd like to get a system sensor mask, I'd check out eBay, salvage shops, or other similar places. Like the video, leave comments, and of course subscribe to the channel.